Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'm going to install some new Helibars that I purchased for my 2021 Honda Goldwing DCT Tour model. I recently installed the Helibar risers and they actually work pretty good. I want to bring the handlebars even closer, or I want to lift the handlebars even higher. So I purchased the tri-axis Helibars for this Honda Goldwing, and they'll fit Goldwings your models 2018 through 2023. So if you've been thinking about and installing Helibars for your Honda Goldwing, stay tuned to this video and I'm going to walk you through and demonstrate how I get them installed on this new style Honda Goldwing. So let's get started. Looking at the items that came in the kit, we have the Helibar tri-axis handlebars. It came with, we got 4 M8 by 25 millimeter Allen bolts. We have the handlebar adapters. We have the grip removal tool for removing the hand grips. We have 2 7/8 black end caps. We have 4 M8 bolt cover caps. Lots of zip ties. And we have the handlebar tubes, and they are labeled right and left side. Also, it came with the installation instructions and also a installation photo booklet as well. With these handlebars, it has a height adjustment of 0 to 3 inches. You can set the handlebars back 0 to 4 inches, and it has wrist angle adjustment of 36 degrees sweep. So we're going to work on getting the Honda Goldwing prepared to get these Helibars installed. For step-by-step instructions on how to gain access underneath the switch panel and to lift it out of your way, be sure to click on the video link in the top corner of my Helibar risers installation, and that video will walk you through how to remove the switch panel and pull it out of your way from the Honda Goldwing. I used a Phillips screwdriver to remove the 2 Phillips screws to remove the plastic cover over the handlebars. In this portion of the video, I'm loosening the 4 bolts that holds down the original OEM Honda handlebars. If you have the Helibar risers, those 4 bolts are black. If you do not have the Helibar risers, the original bolts are silver. You will not reuse any of the black bolts that came with the Helibar risers, but you will need to use the 4 original Honda bolts that came on the Goldwing to install your new Helibars. Now that I have the 4 mounting bolts loosened, now I could work on removing everything that's attached to the handlebars, starting on the left side. To remove the bracket that holds my cybercharger, I need to take out this Phillips screw to remove the bracket. I need to remove these 2 screws that holds the plastic cover to the handlebars. Once you remove the 2 screws to remove the plastic cover, you will not reuse the plastic cover on the new Helibars. Next, I remove the upper and lower bolt that goes to the back of the switch housing. Once I removed the lower bolt, then I was able to kind of pry open the switch housing. At this point, I had to really be careful, so I used a flashlight to look inside of the switch housing. I noticed that it was 2 zip ties that needed to be cut and removed. So I took my snip and carefully cut one of the zip ties. It was one screw that I had to remove, which was green in color. Once I removed that green screw, I was able to unclip the clip that goes inside of the handlebars, and then I was able to remove the switch housing from the handlebars. I then took my ruler and measured the distance from where the hand grip actually stops up till the fattest part of the handlebar, and I came up with about 4 1/8 between that distance on the skinnier part of the handlebar tube. There's also a small hole on top of the handlebar tube. I measured from the end of the grip to the center of that hole, and it came up to about 2.5 inches. Next, I can work on removing the left heater grip on the left side, but before I can remove the left heater grip, I need to take a Phillips screwdriver to remove the bar end weight. Next, I took the handlebar grip removal tool that came in the kit, and it's designed to mount around the handlebar tube. Once you mount it on the handlebar tube, you turn the 2 outside bolts, and the force of the tube will slowly push the grip off of the handlebar tube. Now, this is the longest part of the installation because it takes a while to turn those bolts to push against the removal tube. You have to extend the bolts all the way out. You have to reposition, then reset, and you have to keep repeating this process until the hand grip gets to the very end where you can pull it off of the handlebar tube, where you can pull the grip off without damaging the heated grip wire. Finally, towards the end of the handlebar tube, I added some isopropyl alcohol to help the grip slide off of the handlebar tube. After removing the handlebar grip, I temporarily put back the bar end weight to the end of the handlebar, and this is going to help remove the inner damper. That damper will have to be installed back inside of the new Helibars. Now that I have everything removed off of the left handlebar, now I can take out the 2 main bolts to remove the left handlebar. In this portion of the video, I poured isopropyl alcohol down the inside of the tube through the little holes just to loosen the adhesive so I can free up the inner dampers. We need to take the inner dampers out of the handlebar tubes to install them on the new Helibars. To break up the inner adhesive, I'm just rotating the handlebar tubes up and down and back and forth. I'm now securing the handlebar tubes inside of a bench vise wrapped with the microfiber towel to prevent any scratches. Press in on the tabs inside of the small hole, one on each side. Then you can pull the damper out of the handlebar tube. This damper that I just took out of the original Honda handlebars, we're going to take this exact same damper and install it back into the new Helibars. In this portion of the video, I'm just removing the Helibar adapters that I had installed on the Honda Goldwing. We're not going to reinstall these Helibar adapters. We're going to take them off and just move them out of the way. Now I'm going to take the damper that I removed from the original handlebars, and I'm going to just saturate it with some alcohol, and the alcohol is going to be used for lubricant. And I'm going to take the left handlebar tube that came in the Helibar kit and make sure I have the 2 tabs lined up. Once I have the 2 tabs lined up, I'm going to just press the dampers inside of the tube, making sure that the tabs are inside of the small holes. I gave a little pull after inserting the damper just to verify that the damper tabs were locked into place. And now we can work on the right side of the Honda Goldwing. The right side is a lot easier than the left side. To take off the right brake and reservoir, we're just going to take out these 2 bolts on the front of the perch mount, and that will release the right brake and reservoir. Use a Phillips screwdriver to remove the 2 bolts located in the back of the switch housing. Once you remove the 2 bolts, you can then separate the switch housing off of the handlebar tubes. Once you open up the housing, there is a green screw that needs to be removed in order to remove the tab from off of the handlebar tube. Now that I have the right side switch housing separated, now I can work on removing the right handlebar tube from the right side heated grip. Keep in mind that the right side bar end weight must be removed before the handlebar tube can be removed from the right side heated grip. Now that the switch housing has been separated, now I can remove the 4 black bolts along with the Helibar risers that hold down the handlebar, and then I can slide out the OEM handlebar from the switch housing. Now that I have the right handlebar removed from the Honda Goldwing, I can reattach the end bar damper. Once the end bar damper is attached, it will make it easier to pull out the inner damper. Press in on the tabs. You have 2 tabs across from each other. Press in on the tabs to release the inner damper. Be sure to use alcohol as a lubricant. Pour alcohol into the small holes to lubricate the inner tube. Press in the tabs and you can release the damper. Before we can mount the Helibars to the Honda Goldwing, we must first mount the adapter that came in the kit. We're going to use the 4 bolts that came from the Honda Goldwing, and we're going to use those 4 original bolts to mount the adapter, and then we can place the handlebars to the adapter with the 4 bolts that came in the kit. The 4 original silver Honda Goldwing bolts shall be torqued down to 22 foot-pounds. Torque the original Honda OEM bolts back down to the Helibar brackets at 22 foot-pounds. Caution: your Helibars must be torqued to the specific value. They must not be over-torqued. Over-tightening hardware can lose integrity. In this portion of the video, I'm now taking the new Helibars and mounting them to the front of the Helibar adapters. I'm using the 4 bolts that came inside of the Helibar kit. I'm snugging down the bolts to allow for the handlebars to stand up. Once I make the final adjustment, I will torque the bolts back down to 16 foot-pounds. But for now, I'm going to temporarily tighten down the mounting bolts so I can set the Helibars off the side at a height of 6 inches. Starting on the left side of the handlebars, I took the Helibar tube and I placed the Helibar tube through the mounts. I pushed the tube all the way to the end and tightened down the 2 Allen bolts on the top. This was not the final adjustment. I just needed to snug down the Helibar tubes. I then took my ruler and marked a spot on the new Helibar tube. I marked the spot at the end of the Helibar tube to the point to where the hand grip is going to stop. I marked the spot 4 1/8 inch. At this point, I know where to stop when pushing the hand grip onto the tube. The mark will be my stopping point. Now I can remove the tube from the Helibars, and now at this point I'm going to slide the Helibar tube back through the switch housing. I'm going to take this metal clamp that goes around the handlebar and drop it inside of the small hole on the Helibar tube. I can then mount the switch housing back to the Helibar tube with the small green Phillips screw that I removed earlier from the original handlebar. Note that the switch housing stops at the line that I marked with my pencil. With the switch housing mounted upright, I then mounted the handlebar tube back through the Helibars with the 2 Allen bolts. I used the provided zip ties that came inside of the Helibar kit. I used those zip ties to zip ties the loose wiring back through the switch housing, just like on the original handlebars. At this point, I'm ready to reinstall the handlebar grip back to the left of the handlebar tube. So I lubricated the handlebar tube with alcohol, and then I was able to just push the hand grip up the handlebar tube at the point to where I marked the line at the very edge of the switch housing. I then routed the heated grip wiring to the top of the Helibar tube. I then secured the switch housing back to the Helibar tube with the small green bolt that I originally removed. I also zip tied the heated grip wiring to the top of the inside switch housing. After snipping the zip tie, I was then able to close the switch housing back together using the 2 original bolts that I took out of the switch housing. I was then able to route the wires through the small black bracket and mount the black bracket back to the handlebar tube. Now I'm ready to reattach everything back to the Helibars that came off of the original Honda OEM handlebars. On the right side of the Honda Goldwing, after putting the damper back through the right side Helibar tube, I was then able to slip the Helibar tube back onto the throttle switch housing. I slipped the Helibar tube to the very end of the handlebar mount. I was then able to tighten down the handlebar tube with the provided bolts that came in the kit. I mounted the right brake and reservoir back to the Helibar tube with the original bolts that came from the Honda handlebars. After bolting on the perch mount, I adjusted the tri-axis Helibars to my comfort level. I can make final adjustments and reposition the Helibars to my comfort level at a later date. For the hoses and wire management, I used the provided zip ties that came in the kit. After verifying that the hoses and the wires have plenty of slack after using the zip ties, I rotated the handlebars right to left in a continuous fashion just to verify that the heated grip wires or the hoses has plenty of slack. In this portion of the video, I'm torquing the front 4 bolts to 16 foot-pounds. It's totally optional if you want to reuse the black cover that goes underneath the switch panel. In order for that black cover to fit, you may have to make some cuts or modifications. I think that it looks better to have some type of cover over the handlebars, but it's not required. If you decide to reuse your cover, put back the 2 black Phillips screws. The only thing remains is to put back the switch panel and take the Honda Goldwing out for a test ride. And this will conclude my installation video of these Horizon Helibars for this new style Honda Goldwing. Be sure to check the description of the video. I will include a quick link to where you can pick up some Helibars for your Honda Goldwing as well. And also stay tuned to my channel. I will do a review and let you know what I think about these Helibars, but it's going to take several rides to really make the final adjustments and dial in the Helibars to my comfort level. If you guys have any questions or any comments, feel free to put them down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, be sure to click the like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I'll see you a little bit later out here in the Caliente Garage. See you.